I guess here's the key fact that I want you to speak on, if you will. Our people want to cling to things.
Yes. That's
and don't want to face the reality and the truth. See, what you're doing is you're substantiating what you're saying. You understand? And you have proof in the pudding, but when you bring the proof and the truth to our people, they still want to fight. Say, well, I want to be African. We all Africans, and I'm black. Despite that, and we're going to do a revolution, and we're going to win.
Yeah.
Can you speak to that?
Yes. Very simple. You know how Romans take pride, and they're not there to be studied and appreciated. They're not God for nothing. You know, God is a generic term. God does not mean the supreme being. God means anything that is worshipped, adorized, or praised. Doesn't mean that it's positive or negative. You know, and because Allah has names. Divine providence has names. God does not mean divine providence. When they accepted that trick, they was already out the box. One of the things that the prophet had mentioned to the Moors, and particularly to the adepts, sheiks, etc., he said, the half has not been told. If I told you everything, you would go back to sleep. Study, study, study. And when you would have studied well and would come and ask me what to study next, I would reply, study yourselves. He brought the keys by teaching you of yourselves and teaching you to be yourselves, because in the process of that study, you would become part of it, meaning that it becomes your own. You know, like if you're, like when you hold that meeting and you're trying to encourage Moors to unite, we're talking about conscious Moors. What is it that you really recognize that's a violation with us? This is a violation with us. Jawali said, in order to change the people, and I'm going to repeat that statement, in order to change the people, you must change their literature. Which means you've got all these sheiks, adepts, with all these charms on and all these titles, all these seats of power, am I correct? Who the people trust and believe in. How many of them have written a book with what they know and presented it to the people for them to analyze, to criticize, to dissect, to give them some kind of footing that you know those who know are not telling? So if the sons of the Moabites won't talk, you know the Masons ain't, because they're bound by oath of death. And you know the Jesuits ain't, because they're stealing your birthright and infiltrated all parts of government. You know the Ku Klux Klan ain't, because they're not going to let the Moabite sons hit that European woman and kill that strain, because he's going to protect that queen of the lower light. Now, if we know these things and don't tell our brothers and sisters, can they know? If they've been taught by the Romans and the Roman agents, i.e. black and nigger preachers, overseers, who were given those titles, and that's what they really represent, because a black leader is an overseer, because that's what the title is. You know they don't know that. They don't even know the science of genealogy. They don't know the science of rulership. They don't even know the stars that's in that flag that's governing here. They don't even know that it's a constellation. They don't even know the original star was Hex Alpha and not the 5 point. But they changed it because they didn't want too much information to get out symbolically. But the Moors know this. You know the Masons know this. You know the Jesuits know this. You know government officials know this. You know the industrialists know this. But everybody's silent. Why? It's not to their economic benefit for these truths to be out. But the Moors have a charge. They have a nationality card, don't we? They decided not to be their brother's keepers, didn't they? Didn't they? Didn't they? So when you or I or a brother or sister here who knows walks up to a brother or sister on the street or in the Bronx or in Los Angeles or in Hollywood or in Louisiana and try to school them, they think you're trying to convert to them some kind of religion because you're Muslim. They don't even know that Muslim means the body. Why? Because some Asiatic corrupted agents with the Europeans got people thinking that, well, you know, Muslim means one who submits to the will of Allah. Muslim is the physical body. Even the Europeans are Muslim. It's muscles and tissues and bones. The manifest fetus coming out the womb of woman. Everything that lives here is Muslim. You submit to Allah because you ain't got a choice. And the sun shines on the good as well as the evil. And you eat and breathe and take up space. Now show me other rules that we going by that's here, that we can subvert that. Is that a fact? You see what I'm saying to you? But what blocks people is their quote-unquote fictional taught belief systems, their deication. But in order to attack the deication, which is sorcery, you can't tell them that they're under the rule of sorcery. Because they, one, won't believe you. One, two, they'll think you out to lunch. Three, they think you're a witch. And everything else. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? So you got to bring them back to the earth from an intelligent and scientific point of view. So you're going to have to dig up what the Inquisitionists didn't bury. Do you understand? Then you're going to have to take what they got and decode it. But you got to decode it with your third eye. You've got to see what the common people can't see. It's a state of mind again. When you acquire that state of mind, they can give you any piece of literature and you can break it up. If you don't do it immediately, you can break it down later. That's why you have to have certain codes or certain pieces of information to change your state of mind so that you can see different. And until they begin to see different, you're not going to do anything with them. Do you understand what I'm saying? And you know, and I know that adept means expert. Am I right, brother? Now, if the experts who were given the charge and the responsibility to teach the people sold Jesus out, Yeshua, right? Sold him out. So do you expect them to come free you? Because you know, if the people knew the truth, they'd been free a long time ago. But they think it's some kind of spook game, don't they? How do they think that? Because the so-called leaders have taught them that. The same leaders that got nationality cards in their pockets and know the truth and sit on it. And then when you come along to try to raise them, they say, oh man, he's just some kind of religious guy, some black thing, he's some version of Islam, you know, and pray 5 times a day and everything be all right. Of course, when they do it, it doesn't work, does it? Because the babies still get lynched.